Sister John Dominic, it's such a joy to be able to sit down with you and talk about the Virtue Program and all that you're doing with the Dominican Sisters. Having been a former student of yours, it's a little uncomfortable. I'm getting called down to the principal's office, but this is one instance where I want to be here.
You're glad I didn't have the cards for you at the time,
yeah,
right?
at the time, yeah. Sister, as a former student, but also now as a father and as a husband, I know Natalie and I, with our own kids, have just found this to be such a blessing. So thank you so much
You're welcome. It's been a joy. Yeah.
Really answering the call and making this happen. Well, Sister, where would somebody who's interested in doing this, where would they begin?
There's the Virtue Cards, and then also there's the Virtue Chart Pack, another clever name.
Yeah, very, very descriptive.
But in the Virtue Chart Pack, we have got 3 resources. The first one is Happiness is Living a Virtuous Life. And with that, that's really an examination of conscience based on the virtues. So if someone's trying to see, where are my strengths, where are my weaknesses, and it's just questions that are related to some of the sins, and it highlights a virtue that you could work on to help you to overcome that sin or that vice. The next one is the Remain in Me chart, which has a great overview. Like, for example, if you're preparing for confirmation and you just kind of need to know everything, it's all right there on the front. And then on the back side is the Virtue Tree, which shows how the virtues grow together organically. And then the other chart, the larger one that opens up, is called the Disciple of Christ Virtues. And this is based on the moral virtues, or often the cardinal virtues, and they're color-coded, just like the Virtue cards are color-coded, the Saint cards are color-coded, and it has listed with each of the cardinal virtues or moral virtues that are related to it. And then on the back side of the card, we have it according to age level. So how you lead a 6-year-old, your smallest children, will be different as you may give advice to your younger brother, So we divide it between age levels to give examples of practical ways that virtue could be cultivated.
Yeah.
We have to show practical ways to teach the virtues. So they came up with this idea with the looks like, sounds like. What does a virtue look like, and what does it sound like? So naturally, when you say look like, what do you think we need to do to make that happen?
Right, yeah, you got to give them examples.
The examples are, they would teach, let's say, kindness, and say, well, ask the class, well, what does kindness look like? And the kids would get out a piece of paper, they give them a piece of paper, and they would draw it, and the sisters would look at it, and they think, wow, you look at a classroom, and there's like 15 different ways to show kindness.
Here you have the Educator's Guide. Now, is the Educator's Guide, is that explicitly for teachers and principals?
Yeah.
I mean, can this be used at home? Would a parent use this?
Yeah, that's great. I recommend, like if you really want to get into it and dig deeper, you can get the Educator's Guide. I think teachers need this as a way to guide themselves. Now, what I did, even though it may look like a lot, again, that's color-coded too, but it's all in charts and bullet points. And I took all this information. St. Thomas Aquinas has the Summas, and they're big books and they're difficult to read. And so I kind of pulled out that information and put it together in the Educator's Guide to help you to dig deeper into it if you want to study it more.
So you start with the packet, the Virtue Chart packet. And then when you're ready, you move over to the Educator's Guide. From there, where do you go from there?
Lectio Divina is this prayerful reading of Scripture that has been a tradition of the church for centuries. What's beautiful is that this tradition which would have been so much a part of my life is, how can we make this accessible to you? And how can I teach children? I took the Lectio Divina method and put questions together. So for example, if it's Advent, one year we may take the readings every day at Mass. We would put that in a journal format where you have the reading, and the students could read the reading, the scripture reading, and then there's questions to help them unpack it. And the last one is a prayer asking Jesus, how can I incorporate this into my life? We also did the Life of Christ, which goes through taking all 4 of the Gospels, and that takes readings from each of the Gospels and puts them together in sequence, and they can read the scripture and ask questions. But what we also did is we put artwork with every passage. So you have, just like with the cards, we did the looks like, sounds like. So there's a picture. This is what this gospel passage looks like. So they can make this connection between this visual and the scripture passage. That we're bringing this together.
What are the age groups? I mean,
I'd say about, it could be 5th grade, 6th grade and up. And then, as I'm told oftentimes by adults, right to a 5th or 6th grade level, and then we'll be able to do it too, because we're very busy in our active lives, So I hit every audience if we gear towards that. And those are the ones that, that are published. But we also will put on our website, educationandvirtue.com, there's a section for educators, and we'll put a PDF of things that they can just download and make copies on and use that in their classrooms.
Fantastic. Now talk about these here, that you have this ring here and the necklace. What do you use these for?
We all need a reminder. And I need this reminder. This necklace is going to be that reminder that I want to live this way. I want to desire goodness. I'm going to have this ring on that I can touch. You're married to your wife. She wears the ring you gave her. You wear the ring. That's a reminder. You just during the day you click and you think about your spouse. I wear the religious habit. I walk around, I get my rosary caught on everything. I'm like, we need it. We're flesh and blood. We're body, soul people. We need these things. So touching on everything so it's just going to be a part of life and how you live.
It's just, again, the practicality of this program. The everyday life implications of this, I think, are just fantastic. It's for real people. It's for real people.